Hello, hello, and welcome to the session on Uriel, the beautiful angel of fire and inspiration and transformation, and also a breath that supports and nurtures the sacral chakra, which is where he lands being his beautiful orange. Can we get the light on that? Amber colored self. So before we get into the whys and wherefores of how he sits in the sacral chakra, what I want to get to is a sense of what is flame energy for us in our body, and why is it a transformational thing, an alchemical thing for us. And flame is this wonderful element that has, like amber has this really strange quality that when you pick it up, it looks like a crystal, right? It looks like it should be heavy and dense, but it weighs so little on your hand. It's got this lifted, bright, when you get the light catching through it, beautiful quality to it. And fire has this quality of lifting up and warming up. And what happens for us in our bodies is if we get cold inside, if our emotions get cold, so if we get sad, if we get depressed, if we feel like the light has gone out for us, the life has gone out for us, the vitality has gone out for us, and in particular, if we kind of feel that sort of dense, heavy, cold feeling, the cold feeling in your body when you kind of have runny nose, it's all phlegmy and unpleasant. And what the fire element does is it's the pathway to lifting and burning off and just having all of that density released up and out. So I want you to feel in yourself that sense of the flame energy is a lifting and a dispersing. And the fire element for us, so we've got Uriel, who is about fire. He brings fire in for us from the source, from the divine, from the cosmos. Our fire element is our solar plexus. So we're actually talking about now an angelic source who's bringing the element of fire, connecting our solar plexus energy to our sacral. And that gives us the capacity to observe our emotions, observe our feelings, observe our sense of expression, and bring a spark, bring that creative spark to who we are. So if the light's gone out a bit, if we feel like our life has become that blank bit of paper and we don't feel like we can put any colored pencils on it anymore, if we feel like we're just looking at the day and it feels routine and mundane, Uriel brings this transformational, lifting, upward, outward, expressive energy. And it's this beautiful ability to take that disappointment and shame and grief and all of those downward pressing feelings and lift them up and out. So that's the feeling that we want to play with, and we'll play with even more towards the end of our time together tonight. But to start with, just that sense of when you look at a flame, and I've carefully worn here a little flame-shaped necklace, and it's in shell, so it's all about the water aspect. But this flame, when we think about a flame, the part of the flame that's the very, very hottest is right at the tip. And if you can just imagine now, just place yourself just at the very tip of the candle. So that yellow piece of flame, the yellowy orangey flame, it's kind of like there's some blue edges, and then right at the top it's invisible. The flame has disappeared into nothing, and that's where the transformation is. It's where there is light and there is liftedness, and the liftedness has become so upward mobile, upward moving, that it forms a capacity to step through into a new perception. So there's a disappearing of the who that we thought we were stuck with, and our ability to reappear ourselves out the other side of the flame. So we disappear in, the flame disappears to nothing. And then we've got the capacity to have a whole new perception of how it is that we might be in our life going forward. And when we think through how we've been with flame as a people, flame is so integral to us even existing. So there was a time, hundreds and thousands of years ago, a long time ago, not last week, but a long time ago, and it got really cold. And literally our ancestors were on the verge of extincting. You know, we were on the verge of, as people, not being here anymore, that there might be other life forms that would do okay, but humans were literally to the very edge of not being here. And there is a reason why we talk about the gift of fire. We understand, if you really sink deep into yourself and you think about being around a campfire with friends, being in front of a hearth with family, in the cold of the winter, perhaps with a mulled wine or a nice honey drink or something, you're there, and it's that feeling of you're all there, but at the center of it is the fire. We know in ourselves that that fire was a gift. It was a gift to us. The inspiration that came to those people who figured out that the lightning that came down and made fire come, that they were frightened of, the inspiration to harness it, the inspiration to take this scary thing and be able to contain it, to have a hearth, to have a wick, to have a flame. And in that moment, as a species, our whole consciousness lifted. And one of the lifts was, remember, we're at the Sacral Chakra, the flavors that came through having a fire. Warm food, food that had flavors that came out and on a cold night would warm our tongues and would warm our bellies. Little children who could have warm milk and who could sleep peacefully through the night. That warming up created our very large brains, and we've used them ever since. It was the beginning of our successful migration all around the earth, but it began with the gift of fire. And if we just breathe now and just focus on what it feels like to get a gift at the moment when, like, literally everything might be lost for you, for your family, for everyone you love. You're at that point where, in your situation, isn't necessarily going to be the life and death that our ancestors faced, but there has been times inside our families where we have this great fear that everything might be lost. And now I want you to feel the feeling of getting a gift. And this isn't necessarily that we're talking about the gift of a fire, but we're talking about the gift of the perception that changed things from everything might be lost to there's a way. And this is Uriel. There's a way through this. The gift of inspiration. There's a way. And as you feel into the gift, that transformation from everything might be lost, the alchemy, to there's a way. Let's breathe and find your way through an inhale that is 4 times or 4 counts in, and then hold your breath for 7 counts, and then breathe out with that nice soft mouth and the tongue coming down for 8 counts. So it's an inhale 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. A holding for 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Soft exhale mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just keep that breath flowing. And what it will do for you as you feel that breath, we've still got the sense of the water breath with the inhaling in the nose and exhaling the mouth. But we've added the hold. And what that hold is doing is it's helping build our extra relationship to the oxygen in our breath. And we know what fire needs to thrive. It needs good sources of oxygen. So every time you feel that inhale, and then as you hold, just feel how body is with holding the breath, just for those little 7 counts. And then that lovely long, slow exhale, the tongue comes down to rest at the bottom of the mouth behind the bottom teeth. The inhale 4, the tongue is pressing up on the roof of the mouth. And as we hold for 7, the tongue is pressing up to the roof of the mouth. And then when we release, the tongue comes down and we have that lovely breath out. Just keep flowing that breath for a moment or two longer and really let body appreciate and experience how it is to have this slower, longer breath and to bring the gift of extra oxygen into every cell in the body. And I'd just like you to see now every cell in your body just lighting up as the extra oxygen comes. It's as if every single cell has an extra little spark, waking up all the mitochondria, all the little batteries, little engines in the cells. Once they get oxygen, they wake up, just like a fire does. But to find the fire, we don't find it through the breath in, actually, we find it in the hold, where we're asking the body to send that oxygen in the blood all the way out to the cells. That's what we need. Every time you hold your breath, feel that oxygen lighting up every cell in your body, and notice it as you might feel your fingertips warming, your toes tingling. You might notice your heart feeling a clearer rhythm. You might notice the pressure in your lungs. And you might notice that just the way you're thinking, the way you're perceiving feels clearer and cleaner. Because our brain, which is the physical embodiment of our mind and the place where we do our thinking, loves oxygen more than anything. It loves oxygen. Just keep that breath flowing. Keep the breath flowing, and as we flow, we'll flow into the work with Uriel. In your experience of this time, where body is appreciating his breath, his beautiful triangular breath, the breath, the shape of fire, we'll now call and invoke Uriel, Uriel, Uriel. Come burn your beautiful flame with and around us, your flame that burns and yet does not burn us. Bring the upliftment of your wise counsel, your flash of inspiration, the brightness that suddenly seems to penetrate the darkness, the way that is suddenly lit for us that we can see and understand, the brightness that you bring us, and through the hearth and the gift of fire that you brought. how we can sit around together. We can share family with friends, strangers from near and far. We can share around your fire. And it's the warmth of that fire that we bring into these conversations. Our passion, our sense of self in a way that is light and bright and lifted. We bring ease to each other as we experience the gentle burn of your flame within us. And just with every breath you take, just notice now how you can feel and sense that upliftedness inside you. The sense of who you are, the brightness of who you are, the willingness of who you are to be more open to creative thoughts, more open to how your life might go and flow, more open, more lifted, that you're able to allow the damp, wet, the downward sense to be transmuted and transformed into a rising, lifted sense. So feel now as you breathe in, notice that every breath again reminds us, Gabrielle, we leant forward towards her inspiration. And as you gently ease away from her, notice how Uriel is the warmth on your back. That beautiful warm support, that glow, that safety, that someone has your back. The glow is there all around you now, this beautiful translucent sense of the fire, the light lifted sense of the waters in you, lightening and lifting. And there's always such beauty when fire is reflected in water. That beautiful sense of the picture of the water and the picture of the fire lifting and brightening each other. The water reflecting back the fire's light, and the light of the fire painting across the water. So just allow, as you keep breathing, the breath and the rhythm of the ease of that lovely threefold breath, that all parts of you now are linked into the experience and essence of Uriel, the perception and the alchemy that he brings through his wise counsel, his generous warmth of spirit, his beautiful burnished, uplifting presence, and the wonderful gift of fire that has allowed all of us to thrive in ways that we take for granted. So just inside yourself now, understand the value of the gift. When all hope is lost, the gift of fire, a new perspective, a new way forward, a lightening and lifting of the load. That is the gift and the presence of Uriel. So thank you, thank you, thank you for your presence, Uriel, and your gifting to us at this time. And through all times, through all ancestry experiences, for all of the gifts that you have showered on us in full loving awareness. And we come to you with our eyes as we rest. Every time we rest and we see the tip of a candle, we see the warmth of the hearth, we remember the warmth of your presence. And so it is. Thank you for being with me for this time with Uriel. And enjoy the beautiful rest of this evening, however you choose to spend it. Let me just take the recording off.